Okay, so just a quick one today. I've been for a run, so my body's warmed up, and I'm feeling pretty tight around my hip flexors and my lower back. So I'm just going to share a little stretch mobility routine for those areas if you're feeling the same. Okay. Let's start by rolling down. Always good to roll down. So feet about hip distance apart. Take a moment to check in with your whole body and your breath. And then let your chin come down towards your chest, so you start to get the length through the back of the neck. Soften in your jaw and your tongue and your mouth, kind of your palate. You could let your tongue rest just behind your front teeth on the upper palate and breathe through your nose. Or if that doesn't feel good, if that kind of creates more tension, then try just softening everything around your mouth and jaw and tongue. Okay, arms really relaxed, fingertips soft, knees a little bit soft so you're not looking out the knees. I've got loads of cobweb on my leg. God. Alright, and then so trying to find as much length through through the back body as possible, and then just slowly roll down, feeling into all the areas where there might be a bit of stiffness, a bit of tightness. For me, it's between the shoulder blades, especially on my right side, shoulder blade, right side of my back, right side of the spine. And then, of course, bend your knees whenever you need to, but if you don't need to, keep them a little bit soft until you get to the floor. Keep them soft. Okay, and then we're going to step back with both feet and come into downward facing dog. And just have a wiggle through the back of your legs. And then I'm going to figure out how my front hip flexors feel, the fronts of my hips feel, by coming forward into a high plank, lowering through chaturanga, and then stepping over my feet onto the tops of the feet. And then I'm getting a feeling there, okay, oh yeah, feels quite tight in the front of my hips. Okay, so I know I need to work in that area, and then I'm going to come back up to downward dog. And then step the right foot through, lower the back leg down. So I'm feeling through the front of the left hip now. And I'm just starting with a little wiggle. It's not that wiggly, it's just a gentle, it's almost like I'm just investigating into the area with some gentle movement from side to side of my pelvis. And then, okay, so just exploring that side, what feels what and where. Okay, and then, okay, how does it feel if I press the top of the foot down and lift my knee away from the floor? Quite strong, but it's okay. All right, how does it feel if I tuck my toes, lift my knee? Okay, similar. I'm just going to go back and forth a little bit there. So just rocking on the ball of the foot. Okay, and then coming down again, top of the foot, lift the knee. All right, how does that feel? Feels okay. All right, lower the knee down. And then I'm going to come up, just place my hands on my thigh. And then seeing how it feels there to tuck the toes, lift the knee. Okay, it feels all right. And then lower, and then lift the knees on the top of the foot now. So it's quite strong, so just be really, really mindful, be really aware. Okay, and then I'm going to bring my left hand down, it's just underneath my shoulder, so I'm quite wide here, there's lots of space. Relaxing into my belly. And then kind of rolling over a little bit to the left side, because I can feel into the left side of the front of my hip and thigh. I'm like, yeah, that needs a bit more time. Okay, so I'm bringing the weight over to the left side. You might feel that you don't need to do that, so just see where you want to go. Okay, and then I'm gonna tuck the back toe, bring the knee in again, and then classic, just love this classic move. Bring the hips back and then we get into the hamstring, the back of this leg. Lift the toes up, a little bit active in this foot. And then again, I really like to wiggle my pelvis here to explore the back of the leg, like what feels what where. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And so for me today, it's, I'm coming over to the left side. My hip is getting, I guess it's getting a slight external rotation. And this feels really nice down my lower back. But that might not be the case for you. Maybe you feel better more with the hip in the middle, pelvis in the middle, or over to the right even. Also to the right. Okay, so spend a little bit of time wherever you are. Whew. Please feel free to like pause this. You can save this in your, save it in your collection, and then pause it whenever you need longer. Because our bodies, they're different every day, aren't they? And we don't always need the same thing every day. Okay, another thing I love to do is wiggle my ankle and toes. And that also has an impact on the back of the leg, especially the calf muscles. Okay, and then I'm going to come forward again. Let's come back into downward facing dog. Have a little feel again into the hips and into the backs of the legs. And then my whole side body feels like it wants to stretch, so I'm going to bring the weight over. So I'm rotating on the balls of my feet and bringing my legs and my hips over to the left, so that my right side body, especially underneath my right armpit, gets a lot of space in there. Bend your knees as well. Sometimes that helps facilitate that. For me, it doesn't really do much, but that might be nice for you. Okay, and then lift and coming to the other side. Yeah, and here on this side, bending my knees helps. Curious. I mean, I have no idea why. Maybe one of you can tell me. Probably because I'm not symmetrical, like most of us. Okay, and then let's set the left foot through and do the same thing on the other side. So bring the knee down first and just explore how the front of the right thigh and hip feels. If you want to get more resistance, you can squeeze the glutes, so squeeze your bum cheek, and you can do this by sort of pressing the knee into the floor a little bit. Okay, so, and then let's tuck the toe, lift the knee, just gentle kind of, it's like we're palpating, it's like we're sort of self-massaging, but rather than with the fingers, rather than with the hands, we're doing it with movement. See how it feels from side to side. Back and forth feels good. Alright, and then lower the knee. And then let's do top of the, so we'll come up. May as well stay with the toes tucked. So I'm just really gently pulsing. It's really like I'm pressing my front foot into the floor and releasing, like kind of, yeah, just like there's this gentle pulse of the foot into the floor. That's it, and that is doing something here and it feels good. Tell I'm not physio, can't you? Okay, and then we're gonna try the top of the foot. How does it feel to come forward? So maybe a little lift in the lower belly, just to kind of keep everything quite integrated. But when you breathe in, maybe relax into your diaphragm, relax into the abdomen. See how that feels. Oh yeah, so now I'm really squeezing this buttock cheek as much as I can, and that's really feeling like a really nice impact on the front of the thigh, this hip area here. I'm going to move a little bit, just moving my torso. The weight of my torso and my head is impacting on all of the sensation there. Okay, and then maybe coming forward and seeing how it feels to lift the knee. You know, maybe just see, and maybe tuck the toes, lift the knee, and keep squeezing that buttock. Okay, so then you come into a high lunge, and all manner of things can happen from there. Okay, bring the foot down, hands down rather, step the foot back and back into down facing dog. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then I'm going to come through the vinyasa again, so the shorthand for the sort of part of the sun salutation where we come forward into high plank, lower either knees down or halfway into chaturanga, and then I'm coming into the back bend again, upward facing dog, and feeling to the fronts of my hips. How do things feel? Already feeling a bit more open and spacious, and then back in to down dog. And then I'll bring the knees down, and I'm going to do a couple of twists because twisting is really helpful for my lower back. So, one leg out straight, the other leg bent. I'm going to twist around away from the straight leg, keeping my hand on the bent knee and lifting the back arm if that's available to you, and then taking a breath in as I breathe out and curling down, and inhaling, coming up. And the important thing here for me is that I keep the hand on the knee. This is acting as a kind of resistance. If this arm is just sort of hanging out, not really doing anything, I don't really get as much from it. And of course, like, our movement practice isn't always about stretching and feeling that stretch sensation, but when it is, that is what it's about. That's what this little short is about. Okay. And coming up again, so you can do that for as long as you like, and then bending the knee, I'm going to step it over the straight leg. Okay, and then I'm going to twist towards, if you're pregnant, you probably wouldn't really be doing much of this anyway if you're heavily pregnant. If you've got belly, then keep the twist open. It also feels really great for me, especially around the lower back. So there are no right and wrongs. I'm going to stay here today. I'm just letting my kind of neck naturally follow the sort of natural rotation of my spine. I'm not craning to look over my shoulder. There's nothing to see there. It's just the corner of the wall. It's not very interesting. Okay, and then I'm going to twist the other way. Because it feels good. Okay, and so if twisting that way is really good, like really easy for you, really available, step the foot back over, and then try and get both your hips and knees and feet are facing the same direction, still about hip distance apart, so the foot isn't super close, because that's going to kind of feel weird in your knee and twist into your knee. So a little bit of space between the foot and the leg, and then either drawing that knee sort of towards you, holding on to it a little bit, but not pulling it in. You can create a bit of resistance, pressing the knee against the arm against the knee, maybe. Or if you've got a lot of twist mobility in your spine, then you might come around bringing the elbow on the outer edge of the thigh. And you'll feel that these twists work into all kinds of different places. So it's nice to explore them, different ones. With that straight leg, keep the leg a little bit active. And so again, stay there for as long as you wish. And then we do the other side. So foot comes in, knee goes out, hand onto the knee, and then you're already twisting there. A couple of breaths, however many. A little bit of advice, if you tend to stick your sort of ribs out, stick your chest out, which I do, draw the ribs in a little bit, so you're not coming into a back bend whilst you're twisting as well. Okay, and then the arm lifts up maybe. Take a breath in, and then breathe out, curling down, forward bending. Hand remains on the knee. And quite active there, and then we inhale, open up, exhale, come down, and yeah, do as many of these that feel good. I bloody love these. So if you've got, so this is really helpful. I don't want to get too technical, sciencey about it, but there's a muscle inside, sort of lower back and side of our waist area called the quadratus lumborum. Lumbar being where the lumbar spine is, quadratus being 4, I guess, like the quadriceps. Don't quote me on this. But it lives around here, and it's really little but does a lot of work. And this particular movement, I have been informed, is very helpful for that little muscle. And I have a very tight one, which is why my lower back often feels tight and restricted. Okay, and then we're gonna bring the knee up. Let's step it over, come into this sort of first twist. Bring the knee in a little bit, or just hold the knee. Let your head look wherever's comfortable. And so that would be like step 1, and then step 2, maybe the elbow coming across the knee, thigh. This creates quite a different sensation in my body, so you know it's important to spend time in each one. And then foot comes across again, create a little bit of space between foot and thigh, hips, knees, and all of that going forward in the same direction, and then we can either maybe bring the arm across the knee, create a little bit of resistance there if you have a tendency to squash the knee in. We don't need to do that. I don't think that's helpful in the hips. I think it's helpful to keep this hip and this bum cheek and everything on the floor, and you can do that by pressing the knee into the elbow. And then if you want to, if it's there for you, the elbow could come across, and similar principle, creating a little bit of resistance. And stay there for as long as you wish. Just quite a long time today. Alright, okay, coming out, and then rolling onto the back of the body, bring your knees in and just gently twist over to the side. So really nice, just relaxed supine twist, nothing major going on here. We want to let everything soften. And then the knees coming up all the way to the other side. And then just bring the feet on the floor, about hip distance apart, not too close to the bum but not too far away either. And then just press down through your feet, lift your hips a little, and just seeing how the fronts of the hips feel there. Okay, so And then either you can carry on doing whatever you want from here, or you might rest the legs, rest the body completely. If your low back feels twingy, it's nice to have a bend in your legs, and resting there. Again, for as long as you can. Or if you're not feeling to rest, you can bring your feet on the floor and then we'll roll up to stand from here. So you come back to where we started, keeping the soft knees. Again, you can wiggle through your pelvis here as you rise up. I like to do that. And there we are. Okay. Any questions? Let me know. Let me know how you got on, if that's helpful or not. Thing is with these things, it's time. You know, this is just like a brief snapshot. So if you haven't got much time, then you know, just move as much as you can. Just move and do different movements, and try not to let anything stagnate. If you've got more time, spend more time. Your body will thank you. Okay, enjoy and see you soon.